Hello everyone. So as promised, I'm going to show you what I will do with my window box today and how I'll dress it out. All the plants, compost and planter have been supplied by Cooling's Garden Centre in Rushmore Hill by Sevenoaks. So many thanks for that, Cooling's. Yesterday I posted a story and we were going to choose which one we're going to do, number one or number two. So I've actually decided for number two because on a picture it looks quite okay, but on the planter it looks much more better on number two. Before you actually do anything, when you're buying your plants, these are all bedding plants. When you're buying your plants from the garden center, I'd probably recommend when you have your trolley, do the whole layout on the trolley, have a look at it before you take them home and you regret buying a lot of plants that you don't really need. So what I'm going to start off with today is the Nemesia. I'm going to put 3 of them. I'm going to start right in the center. I've actually put one in the center here. So we're going to start putting them right in the center, and you're going to see we're going to put quite a lot of plants around the planter. We're just going to pack it all up really nicely. I've got a lot of compost here, so we're going to start adding a little bit of compost while we're working. So we've got 3 Nemesias. Here we're going to put all the Nemesias in the back, which is slightly a little bit taller than any other ones. And as we said, adding a little bit of compost while we're going, tuck them in nicely. Here, I'm going to come in the front in a little bit and have a little look so we can see all the balances nice and even. Again, as we said before, you buy your plants and in the garden center where you go, make sure you do the layout on your trolley, and then if you're happy with them, you can add or remove any plants as you go. Adding a little bit of compost here on the side. So these are the Nemesias. They probably come to about 20 to 25 centimeters. So that's why I want them all in the back. Next to these ones, we're going to put the osteospermums, and we're going to put these like here. We're going to put them right in between the Nemesias. Just gently make sure you don't disturb the roots too much. You see, we're going to plant these right in the back here because we're going to pop quite a few in the front, like so. Lovely little plants. These go to about 25 to 30 centimeters, so it's going to give us a lovely different layers of height. So that's what you want. You want to play with height and texture. So I'm going to tuck these in nicely here, and in the front I'm going to put a bacopa so I can balance everything out, and then I'm going to start spreading out the plants. So we have one little bacopa here. They're really lovely. They're going to stay really low, and the variety, this one is called Blue. So I'm going to put this right in the center because we're going to have the trailing Nepeta in the front. So we want to make sure everything is perfectly balanced. So I'm going to put it up, so add a little bit of compost. I need a little bit more compost. So all the compost has been supplied by Cooling's as well. So they've got their own award-winning compost, which is absolutely beautiful in texture. I'm going to add a little bit more just as we go, just to make sure we lift up the plants so they're not staying too low. There we go. So you go. So we've got this one quite nice and centered. Make sure it's all nicely tucked in. And what we're going to do now, we are going to put in the trailing Nepeta, which is absolutely beautiful. It's got such a lovely foliage, and it's just going to contrast with the rest of the bedding plants. So we're going to put these right. I'm going to come to the front now so I can make sure the balance is really nice. So we're going to put this nicely right next to that one, and we're going to put 2 trailing Nepetas. To be honest with you, I didn't really know that there was a trailing Nepeta, and when I saw it I was like, oh, this little beauty's coming home with me today. And here we go. We're gonna come to the front here. So as you can see, make sure it all lays really nice. Tuck it into soil. I am coming to the front here because the thing is, it's important to see the balance. Make sure everything is quite nicely balanced out because I don't want to be in the camera as well. So you can see the different layers of height. There's a little taller ones, shorter ones, and after all this is going to trail around, you just get rid of that little bit there. And here is one of my favorite begonias, because the flower heads are so big, and it's a trailing begonia, so it's all going to flow really nicely around the edges. So these are going to go right on the corners. So, and again, just like here, I'm going to add a little bit more compost. So, and this is reduced peat compost by Coolings, so it's always good to help the environment. So adding a little bit of compost here, add a little bit more. So the begonias are going to go right on the edge. You can see now the layout I did yesterday on my bench, so it's quite important to actually get the layout before you do the display, because the thing is, you really want to get it right. You don't want to put the plants in and after rip everything out and disturb the roots, so it's important to get it right to begin with. So I'd probably recommend, what you can do is just lay it all out on a table, on a bench, or even sometimes, as we said before, in the garden center, before you take the plants home. So I will have a little look around in front now. Probably going to space this out a teeny little bit more there, because what I want to do now, I want to add a little bit of texture with a cineraria. So the thing is, we've got a little cineraria because it's got like a lovely silver foliage to it, and it's quite velvety, which is really actually beautiful. So now we want to actually put a little bit of contrast in your planter, and you can see now these are they're still quite young plants, so if you give it a month, they'll all be really beautiful and displaying lovely foliage. So here you got the little cineraria. So I've cut them all out, so it's easy for me to make sure everything is planted out really nicely. You see, gently, I'm going to put the cineraria here in between. Like so. And I'm going to come to the front now, so we can just have a little look if we're happy with that. Yeah, that looks really lovely. And it's quite important to actually put enough plants in, but you don't really want to squeeze them too much. You want to make sure they've got enough space to breathe, and they've got enough space for the roots to actually grow. So I've got 3 cinerarias here. I'm going to put one more here. Now put another one here. And you can see, we're going to actually look at the layout here, make sure everything's looking absolutely lovely. But what I think I'm actually going to change the scenario. See the 2 ones in the front, I'm going to push them a little bit further back, so I'm going to leave them to about here and to about there, so we have a nice little flow of plants, and like so. And yeah, that's looking really lovely. You can see the different layers of texture and the different layers of color. So the things I love, the begonia with the cineraria. So that is a display for the moment. I'm gonna do a few shoots, a few photographs for you guys in about 2 to 3 weeks time, so you can see the difference in how all this is going to grow and how it's all going to develop. So yeah, I think I'm really super happy with that. I hope you all enjoyed it. Big thanks to Coolings for supplying all the plants, supplying the planter, the compost, and if you've got any comments or any questions, please